Today we're going to talk about sliders. How's it going, guys? My name is MrHurriicane, and in today's video I am sharing the current slider set that I'm testing in Madden 15 in preparation for my upcoming Carolina Panthers franchise, as well as my Sammy Hollins player-based safety franchise mode series, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, this is typically what holds up the beginning of my franchises every year, getting that slider set that gives us the good competitive games that make the franchise fun to watch. And what you're seeing today is a 6-minute quarter game. I'm playing as the Arizona Cardinals against the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm just trying to show you guys what I'm working with right now slider-wise. And this was not a set that I've actually created myself. This was actually sent to me from one of the people at Operation Sports, that's in the Operation Sports Vets Connected franchise, their online league over there. And I've spent some time testing this one now, and I'm liking the games that I'm getting, and I believe I'm almost ready to begin the series. I think I've made a couple changes since the base that he sent me, but it was a good starting point. Anyway, there's a lot to talk about in this video about the game and the sliders themselves. If you want to see the actual sliders, I don't have them in the video, I have them in the description below, so you can open that up and you can see the ratings for both sides. But this is kind of a simple slider set, I want to say. It's an all Madden set, and a lot of the ratings are close to their default level, which is 50. I've tested a couple different sets, and this is the one I've liked the most. There's different theories that go into sliders. Some people, I subscribe to this one in Madden 12. I try to keep the computer and user the exact same to not give an advantage to one side or the other, but it seems that on all Madden it doesn't matter. The computer seems to get advantages anyway. So you have to find a way that balances the game, and most importantly, you have to find the set that fits you. And so that's always tough when you want to test out various slider sets that you're not sure how experienced players are at the game, or just their different kind of perceptions of how the game should be played. So maybe they emphasize certain areas that you don't, and the sliders don't meet your expectations because of those perceptions, I guess. Anyway, I tried playing the game on default all Madden, like I usually try to every year, to see where the game is at. And one thing I'm looking forward to in this year that's going to be better, I believe, than Madden 25 and Madden 13 is that the AI is much more competitive, I want to say. The play calling, I'm not really sure how much better the play calling is, which that's one of my main gripes. Some people complain about sliders a lot. I would complain more about game management and how the AI approaches various situations, and sometimes their play calling gets repetitive, too conservative. There's a lot of areas that aren't even slider related, and you have to look at play calling as the culprit. But in Madden 15, simply put, the game is harder in all Madden than it was, especially in Madden 25 on last gen, and definitely in Madden 13. I remember in Madden 13, the computer run game was almost non-existent. Last year I had a lot of trouble with sliders to get competitive, and that was the main thing last year. It wasn't just getting a good game, it was getting a competitive game. And I spent a lot of time testing last year, and I hope I never spend the same amount of time testing and not playing again. And so what you're seeing in this game, I think, is some decent competition from the computer, although it's not the toughest game I've played. The previous game I played was against the Denver Broncos. That was a 17-0 game, and I lost that one. I've lost a bunch of games testing these sliders, and this is probably the easiest game that I've played. I think you're going to see a lot of good things in here. Some of the inaccuracy looks really good. I mean, throws aren't perfect. I mean, you can watch Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. They're going to throw a few bad balls a game, and so when Nick Foles misses by a couple yards, or I miss with Carson Palmer, that's not something to complain about just because I had my feet set. Sometimes guys make bad throws, and we're trying to mimic that in the gameplay here. And there's the throw right there to Riley Cooper that was behind him. That's inaccuracy, yet the ball was catchable. I really want those core attributes to be emphasized. Things like catch-in traffic for wide receivers, which I think is better in this game than it has been in the past. And you're also, from the computer, a lot of times you're going to see them turn into captain check down a good bit. The computer is not very aggressive, although Nick Foles does take some shots in this one. And here's probably the worst play of the game, where Foles just runs beyond the line of scrimmage and then just throws it across the field, kind of not knowing what's down there. There's things that I can't fix with sliders, so I'm doing my best to get the good game, and I honestly think that I'm pretty close to getting a game, the sliders that I want to play actual games with in the series. This year I want a much tougher time playing the games, and I think I'm going to get that just partially because of sliders and just the way Madden 15 works. One thing that I think will make a huge difference is the success of the running game. In the past, the running game has been too easy. It's too easy to get conversions, it's too easy to get more than 4 yards, and so you're not getting a lot of plays where you only get 1 or 2 yards. You're getting too many 3s and 4s, and when those are your lowest carries, you're going to move the chains more often than you probably should. I mean, watch the games on Sunday. How often are teams able to run 5 minutes off the clock in the 4th quarter with the running game? That's very rare, and if you did that, that's a dominant performance. When the team knows you're going to run and you can still do it, that is impressive. In this game, you can see that it was very tough for me to run with Jonathan Dwyer, as my guy, Andre Ellington, was hurt as I was simming forward for a good matchup. But I really want to test this with some of the league's better backs and see if I can have good performances with those, because most of the games I play, I average around 2 or 3 yards a carry, but I've played with the Falcons and I've played with the Cardinals, and neither team really has a dominant running game. But I want to see a little bit better numbers from what I'm getting if I'm playing with a team that has a good O-line and a solid core of backs. But I do believe that I will have to earn my yards on the ground this year. I'm not going to make a big change to make sure I'm getting a bunch more yards or anything, but I'm going to try to find a sweet spot of sorts so that the running game has to be earned, yet with the better backs you're going to have an easier time. Against the CPU in this one, they ran the ball more effectively with LaShawn McCoy, although they only ran the ball 6 times with him. They were behind most of the game, so Foles was throwing. He faced a good deal of pressure without a lot of blitzing, and he had some inaccurate passes as well. The Arizona defense played the best game I've seen from them in this game, which was after I played, of course, that 17-0 game against the Denver Broncos. And all of this is, of course, 6-minute quarters, so don't look into the stats too much. I am, of course, playing on 6-minute quarters because I don't want to test at the 14, 15, what I will normally play at, because I don't want to play hour to hour and a half long test games. But I've played a bunch of these 6-minute quarter games, and I'm starting to feel like we're almost there. And this was one of the better games I played. If you look at the stats, I think it makes sense if you project what it would have been in a full game. And looking at some of the gameplay, I liked what I saw. There was some inaccuracy from Palmer, some from Foles, and Foles were of course on passes less than 10 yards, which you're going to see from time to time. I didn't have too much of a problem. A couple of throws didn't miss by very much. But of course Foles is, I'm not sure what he is rated in the game, probably a middle-of-the-road quarterback, so I'm not going to really worry too much about one game or a few bad throws, because I like it. After watching Peyton Manning kind of tear us apart, I wanted to see the AI not be too dominant. The main part that makes all Madden hard is that every quarterback seems to be very, very good, and so that's why that's the rating that's dropped the most, even for the user. I have the user one. The guy who sent me the sliders has it down to, I think, a 7 or a 10, and I kept it at 7 because that's what I was testing at already, and I like the feel of it. CPU is at 5. And of course, if you don't like the accuracy, maybe you just don't want this inaccuracy to be there. It's a base set, so you can edit if you want. This is kind of what feels good to me right now. I'm going to make some more tweaks before I play my next set of games, but I'm liking where this is headed. I want to use the same set in both the Panthers and my Sammy Holland series, but I'm not looking for the final set. I'm looking for a good starting point, and I think that we're about there, and we're a couple weeks into the NFL season, so I definitely have rosters. So I don't think the wait will be too much longer, other than the fact that once I do get going, I have to, of course, play the preseason, so that's 4 games that I summarized into one video. But once I get there, I'm going to go through those as fast as I can. But another thing I'm thinking about for my connected franchise is whether I want to play as a coach or an owner, and there is a significant difference from a money standpoint. Now, I've tested this out. If you play as a coach, you can turn coach firing, of course, on or off, but the main thing is that you get full range of the salary cap, and that's a big deal because as an owner, you don't get full range of the salary cap if you don't have the funds to do so. You're more budgeted based on how much income your team actually generates, and so you can't just spend the full amount of the salary cap if you aren't winning games, you're not pulling in enough money, which, you know, that does make sense. I just want to make sure that it works the way it should, so I'm kind of leery about that. But I played as an owner in Madden 25 and didn't have too many issues with signing free agents or re-signing my own players. So right now I am leaning towards playing as an owner, but if you have any feedback, leave that below in the comment section. Game is winding down. I up 10-0 as Philadelphia has ran a bunch of screens. They've had a lot of trouble on third down, and our defense has been getting a lot of pressure and making it very tough for Nick Foles to play quarterback. So this was, I thought, a pretty good game. I was hoping for a little bit more of a challenge from Philly's offense, but you're going to get games like this, and I definitely played plenty of games where the offense provided more than enough of a challenge. This is just one game you are seeing, and so if you are still looking for a slider set and you play Sim and you're just looking for something that works for you and you've tried out other sets, I definitely recommend this one. As I mentioned prior, it's kind of a basic set. Most of the ratings are close to their default levels, and the key ones have been tweaked. The penalties have not been touched, although they have, I believe they still have impacts on gameplay. They've had a great impact in the past, but I kind of subscribe to the theory now where the more you kind of start messing with things, the more you kind of screw things up, and you make the game play the way that it wasn't intended to, and sometimes that works, depending on what you're tweaking, but, not knowing exactly how the sliders work can make that very tough. So, I'm liking the way this played. I hope you guys enjoyed this game. Here are the stats in this 6-minute quarter game, which I think look pretty good. Obviously, you see a lot of checkdowns. LaShawn McCoy would have liked to see some more to Cooper and Macklin, although Foles did try some deep balls, and, Cooper and Macklin got a few looks, and it was a short game. So, anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. That is where I'm at right now, slider-wise. I think we're in a good spot right now to begin the series shortly, maybe even this week. We'll see how things go. But anyway, comment below your thoughts, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.